Friday nights, Northwest Georgia. We're here at the lovely Barron Stadium as our game of the week this week will be Rome versus North Clayton. Co-host Northwest Georgia football, Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Mike Atwater, Rome Elite Sports. We're going to talk a little surprises, disappointments from the month of August in high school football, talk about our games of the week, talk a little college football. As college football season has started as well. But let's talk about like you just mentioned, we're a third away through the season. What have you seen? What do you like, dislike? Talk about what your August was like for high school football in Northwest Georgia.
Well, it's kind of early to tell right now because a lot of the teams have only played a game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few that have a couple of games under their belt, but to me, the most surprising team in August was Rockmart. I knew Rockmart was going to be good coming out.
They got that new.
Yeah, I didn't know how good Nunu was going to be,
I had some guys that were telling me, a guy named, one of my best friends I grew up with, a guy named Tex Tomlin. He's got a son that plays at Rockmart who actually started at cornerback as a freshman this past week for Rockmart. But I had him tell me this summer, he said, man, watch out for Nunu. He said Nunu could throw it. And Nunu, man, he's been putting up major numbers. He had over 150 yards rushing against Cedartown. Came back last week against another 4A opponent, Central Carrollton, threw for 145, ran for 172, and Nunu was getting it done.
Oh, yeah. I think the thing that surprised me on that team, too, is the defense. I knew the defense coming out was going to be real good, but they're a lot better than expected.
Rockmart, I think they moved up to number 1 in AA this week.
They did.
And I think Rockmart's got enough to win it all.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Rockmart is off this week. They've got Heard County next week, which actually we'll be in Rockmart next week for the Rockmart Heard County game. Which I know the game is in Franklin, but we'll be in Rockmart next week.
And Heard will be fired up for that game because I think they're going to come into that game 0-2. They're playing Hateville this Friday night.
Woo!
So, in the span of 3 weeks, they got LaGrange, Hateville, Rockmart.
My high school beat them to L, baby. LaGrange beat them 24-9 in the opening week. On the other side of the county, Cedartown. We thought Cedartown was going to have a better year than what they're having. Cedartown 0-2, Lauren. Talk about the Dogs.
I mean, it's kind of hard to have success when you lose your starting quarterback like that. That's one. They played Rockmart very well in the first half. And once the quarterback went down, I think it was a game changer. Rockmart got the momentum. And then coming out this week against a good Alexander team, I mean, you got the backup quarterback in there, and I mean, they hung with them 27-20, right?
Yep.
And I think it's going to be an uphill battle for them the rest of the season. I mean, it's going to be a tough stretch they got coming up.
Cedartown has a lot of talent. Kobe Pryor, the Clemson commit, C.J. Washington at backfield. I think Mr. M.J. Holiday, the quarterback, just need to turn around and hand it off.
Yep.
Just give it to them backs in the backfield. Does Cedartown still make the playoffs? They're 0-2 right now. Can you say, which those games are not region games,
right?
But we know how tough their region is.
Oh, yeah. I say Cedartown makes it as the number 4 seed. It's going to be hard to beat Cartersville, Troop, and Sandy Creek. Those three, those top 5 teams in the state right there. So even if you had your starting quarterback.
And LaGrange is better.
Oh, and LaGrange. Yeah, I forgot about LaGrange.
LaGrange is better. So it's going to be an uphill battle, like you mentioned, for Cedartown.
I follow that Cal Preps a lot, when I go in there and look at their.
Yeah, I saw a guy come in and say something to you this week.
Yeah, I like that. But they got LaGrange ranked 16th right now.
Okay.
Let's
go,
which is
Grange.
a step up for
Let's
LaGrange.
Go. Also, 6-1A rather. It's a whole side of 6-1A. They are really balling.
Yeah.
Bowden, Christian Heritage, Darlington. Hey, let me tell y'all something about Darlington. They got a running back that doesn't get a lot of credit around here, Colin Rogers. He's the real deal, y'all. Darlington has some athletes. Tate Ratledge is a dog out there, literally.
Cade Brock.
Man, they got some players. Man, Darlington, they got enough, I think. They got Tristan Wright, a receiver. Patrick Shelley is another upcoming. Darlington just manhandled Coosa last week. Played stellar defense against Pepper the week before. Darlington may have enough, man. I think they got enough talent.
Yeah. Speaking of Darlington, they're going to Sonoraville this week, and I know a lot of people expected Sonoraville to come out last Friday and score a lot of points after their scrimmage performance, but Model shut them down, held them to 18 points.
The score was 18-10.
18-10 was the final score. How do you think they'll do against that big Darlington defense?
Well, that Darlington and Sonoraville game I think it's going to be a good one. I think Sonoraville, Coach Pate, man, he does an excellent job with those guys. And the reason I'm tipping my hat off to Coach Pate up there at Sonoraville, because in Calhoun, all they know is Calhoun.
Oh, yeah.
They're always considered as the other team. He's got some talent out there at Sonoraville, man. That Burns kid, is it Blade Burns?
Blade Burns. Richards at linebacker. He had 15 tackles this past week.
They got some talent.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold off on my prediction because with Sonoraville and Darlington, but this may be the toughest team Darlington faces all season. I know they, down the line, I'm not talking about the playoffs, but I'm just talking about the regular season. I feel like Darlington is going to, handle their business with Christian Heritage and Mount Zion and trying. But this Sonoraville team, man, we talked about it before the season started. I think Sonoraville got a shot to make some noise in the playoff. And next week, Sonoraville got that arch rivalry, Calhoun.
How about going back-to-back, Darlington, Calhoun? Just going to get it done right there.
Yeah, we going. Hey, Sonoraville, they're going to test you and see what you made of this opening 3 weeks. You open up with Model, you got Darlington, you got Calhoun. We're going to see what you made of. But talk about the game that you was at on Friday, the Dansville-Cass game. Talk about that Bartow County rivalry.
Dansville-Cass, man, it was a defensive struggle right from the get-go. I was keeping the stats in the stands, and at halftime, 14-7 to Daresville, but the total yards was 43 to -3. Like I said, man, defensive struggle all the way. Daresville looked good. The defense looked really good. I think both teams are still trying to figure out.
JP Perry, that's a player.
Oh, yeah, JP Perry. I think both teams are still trying to figure out their offenses, and when they do, they'll be solid going forward.
The Dansville ended up winning that game. Malachi Gardner had a good game also for Dansville. You see them making any noise in 6 AAA?
I see every team in 6 AAA making noise. I mean, from top to bottom. I think Calhoun is the king of the mountain, but I think everybody else is stepping on each other to get to the top. I don't see a solid number 2 team emerge yet in 6 AAA. I know North Murray went up to Raven this weekend and played them fairly close.
Who won that game?
Raven won 38-17, which is a lot better score than what a lot of people had predicted.
Yeah, Raven is a AA powerhouse, so a lot of people predicted Raven County.
Ringgold, I mean, that was
come
one.
Away with the.
That's one that a lot of people had predicted to be the number 2 team coming in, but
I mean, you got Ringgold, you got North Murray, you got a Dansville, you
Lakeview,
got
Fort Oglethorpe,
LFO.
Murray County's 2-0 right now.
Murray County 2-0?
Yeah, Murray County's 2-0.
Talk about those 2-0 teams. Gordon Lee's
is
a 2-0 team. Heritage out of Catoosa County, man, I'm telling you. They got a wide receiver up there that came in from, I want to say from Chattanooga. I think his name's Sam Randolph.
Sam Randolph.
He is a beast. Big kid, big physical kid. He had like 3 touchdowns this past week in that game, 2 receiving touchdowns, a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Is Heritage for real?
Heritage is for real, especially in 6-4A, because I think 6-4A is another region where any team, top to bottom, can make noise. There's no real clear front runner right now.
Okay.
Ridgeland.
I think Heritage may be the cream of the crop in that region.
Yeah.
Heritage, maybe Ridgeland and Pickens County.
Yeah, I'll tell you more after Friday when Pickens comes to Pepperell.
Okay.
I haven't seen enough from Pickens this year to really make a choice, but
I think Murray County has a stud running back.
They got a couple of guys. They got
Cade Perry.
Yeah.
He had 181 yards rushing this past week. Murray County, are they for real?
I think they're for real enough to make a playoff run. Yeah.
And that's what's going to be the good thing about late September and October, man. Those region games going to be huge all over Northwest Georgia.
Cahulla Creek's favored to win this week, and they're the bottom team in that, 6 AAA.
6 AAA, yeah. But like we mentioned earlier, we at Barron Stadium, and the last time there was a football game played here at Barron Stadium, fans were in shock. Players, coaches, people was in shock.
You think so?
Well, let me say this about that Rome Marietta game. Marietta won 48-14, but Marietta is arguably one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Rome playing the team 2 classes up And I know people say, well, they played them last year. You got a different team. You got a lot of young guys out there. Marietta has a legitimate 13 to 14 D1 players.
Yeah.
So
I know they were tough coming in last year, and they added 3 or 4 guys to that roster in the offseason.
Eric Gilbert and Ellington and all those guys, Marietta may have enough talent to beat University of Tennessee. I'm sorry, Tennessee fans. That slipped. How dare I do that? I'm sorry. Marietta's loaded.
I don't want fans to be worried, because I think Tennessee's going to get it together, and they'll probably pull the upset next week against Tennessee Chattanooga.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
That'll be good. That's gonna go down to the wire. Yeah. Be a real good game. But let's talk about Rome, since we're here at Barron Stadium. Rome has North Clayton this week. Can't recall right off if North Clayton is double, AAA. They've always had a pretty good basketball program. DJ Shockley attended North Clayton. I think Rome is going to run through North Clayton.
Yeah. I think North Clayton.
Reed is mad. They may put up 80 points this week against North Clayton.
I think North's a 6A team, but
North Clayton is.
But I think they've been a perennial, 2-8, 3-7, 6A team. But yeah, I see Rome coming out fired up Friday night, and they'll probably turn the scoreboard off in the second half.
Rome has 2 dynamic running backs in Blackwell and Trey Lawrence. Both had over 100 yards rushing against Marietta. And that Blackwell kid, man, he is explosive coming out of that backfield. Trey Lawrence is also good. Jay Wise, man, shout out to Rome Elite AAU basketball. He plays basketball, pretty good basketball player. 4 catches.
Heck of a wide receiver.
94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jay Wise looking like he's going to be a go-to man for Rome this year.
Oh, yeah.
So, but after this for Rome, they got their 2 toughest region games back-to-back. Next week, Rome against Cale. We might be back here next week as the game of the week. Rome against Cale, but then that week later, Rome has to travel to Character. Can Rome go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2 in your opinion?
I think Rome will go 1-1 against those two big boys. I don't know which one they'll beat, but they'll beat one of the 2.
And Rome has a dynamic middle school football program. They played a classic game this past weekend against McEachin. They got some talented 8th graders, R.J. Hodges, Martavius Collins. I'm going to give y'all this name as the next great quarterback at Rome High. Remember this name, Reese Fountain. Reese Fountain is the next stud quarterback at Rome. Reese is the exact copy of Knox Kadum. That's how good Reese is. That's how good Reese is going to be. Yep. Reese Kadum is Rome will, it may be a year or 2, they may not win championship, but Rome will be back. Yeah, we guarantee you that.
I've seen a lot of stuff written on that Reese Fountain. He is the real deal. Yeah,
Reese Fountain, man, I'm telling y'all, remember that name, Reese Fountain. Let's talk some college real quick before we get to predicting our games. Georgia did what they were supposed to do this weekend. What's up with your hat?
Roll Tide. Were you satisfied with Georgia's performance, or did you come away?
No, 30-6, they dominated that game from the start to finish. They could have done anything they wanted to. They ran the ball. They're not showing too much. They got Murray State this week, Arkansas State next week.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Georgia fans come out saying how they started slow and they were worried because, they scored what? The first 3 times they had the ball? That's not a slow start.
I saw things that they were working on, not worried about Georgia at all. But Roll Tide started out a little slow.
They started out a little slow. They had a couple of guys suspended for the first half. That Nick Saban decided in the second quarter the first half was too long to suspend them, so let's put them in, and they got things rolling.
What you think about that Auburn win, that last second win against Oregon?
I tell you what, I was at work that night and I had a chance to turn the game on with about 2 minutes left, and I got to see that last drive by Bo Nix, that true freshman. Awesome poise, great throw there at the end of the game.
Bo Nix may be a problem.
Yeah,
Bo Nix is like the real deal. Great quarterback in Auburn. I hate to do it, Volunteer fans. We've got to talk about it. Not only did you lose to Georgia State 38-30, but you paid them $950,000 to come to your stadium, Neyland Stadium, and lose the game. Floor is all yours. I don't want to say anything. Floor is all yours.
Hey, I think you said enough right there. Speaking of the Vols, how about the SEC in general? I mean,
Ole Miss lost to Memphis. South Carolina lost to North Carolina.
how about that game with Arkansas versus Portland State, where they had to win in the final seconds?
Oh, they did? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is the SEC down, you think?
Is the SEC down or is everybody else up?
I don't know. We're going to see.
We're gonna find out.
we
We're
know
gonna find
that-
out Saturday.
We know the cream of the crop in the SEC got some big games Saturday. Texas A&M invade Death Valley, playing those Clemson Tigers. LSU will be going to Austin, play the Texas Longhorns. Can the SEC go 2-0, 1-1, or they will lose both games?
I'm gonna go 1-1. I think Clemson's too much for anybody in the country to handle right now, and I think LSU looked dominant Saturday against Georgia Southern, but I think they're gonna be a problem for Alabama in the West this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually won the West.
Yeah, they look loaded. I'm going with this. LSU and Texas A&M will win Saturday.
Okay.
I think Texas A&M will go in there and defeat Clemson. I think LSU will. I think they're gonna manhandle Texas, honestly. But I like Clemson against Texas. I mean, I like Texas A&M against Clemson Saturday. So those are the two biggest games of the week in college football, and we'll start talking more college football right now today. If you needed a quarterback to win your national championship, there's 3 Georgia quarterbacks: Jake Fromm, Justin Fields, Jacob Eason. Which one of those quarterbacks would you have for one game to win the national championship?
One game, I'm going with Jacob Eason. He's got the arm. I mean, he's got that big play potential. If you need him for one game, he's like Tua at Alabama. He could run around there and gun it 70 yards if he had to, in the final seconds. Well, I think Fromm's more of a game control kind of guy. And
Fromm is he's a Trent Dilfer, a Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
You got a good running game. That kind of overshadowed. But out of those 3 guys, I think I would take Fromm because he's played he's played more, bigger games.
And Fields, I think, in the future might be the one you would take, but he just doesn't have enough games under his belt yet to make that decision.
We're going to judge Justin Fields in a couple of weeks when that Big Ten schedule come out, when he's playing Purdue and the Wisconsins and the Michigan States and Penn State. We're going to see what Justin Fields made of, just like Jacob Eason. We'll see what you're made of when you play Oregon, and Stanford, and Utah. And so, because Jake Fromm, he's already made. He's done what he's had to do to establish himself as a big-time quarterback. So let's wrap up the show. Let's get in here and predict some games this week. Cedartown, 0-2 Cedartown at Bremen.
At Bremen. That's going to be a tough game because they're both coming into the game 0-2, and somebody has to win that one. Bremen lost to Bowden last week, which I think to a lot of people was a big surprise.
Rivalry. That's a big
rivalry and a
down
big
there.
surprise down there. And I think Cedartown has enough talent, speed, and size to pull the win off at Bremen.
Bremen defeated them last year, correct?
13-10, I think.
Yeah.
It was a close game. I remember it was that night it stormed.
I think Cedartown is going to rectify some of the issues that they've had. I think Cedartown will beat Bremen by 2 touchdowns. I'm going Cedartown over Bremen. Pepperell in Pickens County, the Battle of the Dragons. Who you like?
Yeah. They both only have a game under their belt, and Pepperell looked real good week 1 on defense. I mean, holding that Darlington team to 17 points. I think they've had a couple of weeks to try to figure out a run game to go along with that pass game they have. Pickens struggled a little bit in week 1 compared to what they did last year against Stone
And the game is in Lindale, right?
Yeah.
Is it in Pickens or Lindale?
Pepperell.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Pepperell on that one in a real close game.
I like Pepperell 24, Pickens 23. I think Pepperell with Gage Moses and Peyton Rose, they're going to get that thing going. They got a kid, Trey Robertson. He's pretty explosive too for Pepperell. Harrison County at Armurchie. Harrison County, a lot of people last year, what's Harrison County's record so far this season?
1-0.
Armurchie, they lost their starting quarterback, Mr. Pledger. Hope everything's all right with you, Mr. Pledger. Coach Jeremy Green has a program at Armurchie that he is not just started in high school. He's got the pups out there, the little ones, the little Indians playing rec ball here in Rome, and
He takes a lot of pride in that program. You know, he's a born and bred Armurchie Indian, and you can tell it by talking to him and seeing him in action with the kids, man, that he really loves that program.
And people need to continue to give Coach Green some time to get that program up to par, and he's one way he's done it is by starting with the youth football, building it up, being all about Armurchie. Harrison County, Armurchie. I like Armurchie.
Like Armurchie. I'm
gonna go 14-13.
14-13. It's going to be a tough game for Armurchie. You know, Cameron Parker's getting the start at quarterback. They got a couple of weeks to get him comfortable behind center before they start the 7AA play. Harrelson's just got a lot of size up front. It's going to be hard for them.
The whole line is huge.
I mean, 300-pound guys across the front, tough for anybody to handle. I'm going to go 2017 Harrelson County.
Yeah, I think Armurchie, man, they're going to get Coach Green and that Armurchie Indian team. They're going to get it together. Carrollton and Riverdale.
I'm going to go Carrollton. I don't know much about the opponent, but, I mean, Carrollton, that quarterback they have supposedly is a real deal. And
yeah, Carrollton in a blowout.
Big.
Yeah, I don't see Riverdale being able to hang with Carrollton at all. Carrollton is a state title contender year in and year out. So I like Carrollton in that game. Cartersville and Luella. Luella sounds like a TV show or something.
Yeah. Blowout, Cartersville.
Yeah. Cartersville Purple Hurricanes, y'all will be home by 9:30, 10 o'clock on Friday. Cartersville in a blowout. What about the Calhoun-Thero game?
You know, I got to looking at the stats last night because I didn't really know that much about Thero. But, you know, Thero beat Osborne week 1, 33-7. They had a quarterback throw for 3 touchdowns. So I think they have the potential to keep the game a lot closer than the fans expect. But I still see Cartersville winning by 35.
Yeah, Calhoun, man. They don't regroup, they reload.
Oh yeah.
They have abundance of talent. Let's bounce and see about. I just had the game in my head.
What about Model at North Murray? That's a game I'm excited to see this weekend.
I think also Model with North Murray. I think the coach at Model,
Jeff
Honeycutt. They right there on the edge. I think Model is going to be a playoff team, or at least a team to contend. North Murray, man, I tell you, they got some athletes on that field. That Lade McConkey kid, man. I'm telling you, I promise you, man. The Lade McConkey is out of college coaches, he's a D1 player. He is a stud. I like North Murray over Model about 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think North Murray has the edge on Model right now offensively, but I'm just real curious to see what Model's defense can do against that North Murray team. You know, Model's really only 2 plays away from being 2-0 right now.
Yeah. So Jabari Birds, AJ Woods, they got some talent out there. They're gonna definitely get it together out there with Model. My hometown, LaGrange and Callaway. LaGrange beat Heard County. Callaway and Heard County in the same region. It's gonna be a war at Callaway Stadium. I'm never going against my Grangers, ever. But who you like, LaGrange or Callaway?
I like Callaway, but I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm not a shootout, but it's going to be a low-scoring shootout. I'm going to give it 16-13 Callaway, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went the other way.
I'm going to go 17-14 LaGrange.
17-14.
I think LaGrange has they may be back. They may be back to the LaGrange of old when it comes to playing Callaway. So
it's kind of a neat stat about Region 5AA. You know, Callaway, Heard, Bremen. Those 3 teams everybody thought coming in were going to dominate. How about their collective 0-4 right now?
Yeah, Callaway lost to Opelika from Alabama. Now Opelika is a 6A school, if I'm not mistaken, in Alabama. Heard County lost to a 4A school. And Bremen, they've lost to Rabun
and Bowden.
And there's a team in Region 5AA, Temple. They had a running back this past week, Mr. Phillip Johnson, that had 22 carries for 378 yards and 5 touchdowns. Temple may be a team to watch out for too in that region.
That team's a team I've been jockeying ever since the start of the summer. I saw them back in the spring. I actually saw them spring last year and thought they were going to be real good. So I'm not surprised by the success they're having, and it's going to be fun, 5. 2A there.
I failed to mention a team that's been dominant that we have forgot to talk about. Dalton Catamounts. Dalton is 2-0. Dalton beat Northwest Whitfield this past week, 73-7. Jameer Gibbs, the running back that is committed to Georgia Tech, he has 12 touchdowns in 2 games. They had another running back, I want to say his name was Maurice Howard. He ran for 169. You beat your crosstown rivalry 73-7, Dalton may be for real.
Yeah. How about, too, the fact that as good as Dalton has been so far this year, they're still predicted to come in 4th in that Region 6 5A.
That Region 6.
That region's loaded,
hey, man. Creekview, Alatoona, Harrison,
Sequoia.
That is a loaded region. That region is just as tough as that LaGrange region.
Yep.
LaGrange, Troop, Sandy Creek. All right, we get to our big 2 games, man. Let's talk about it. Sonoraville and Darlington. Who you got?
I think, like I said, I saw Sonoraville in the preseason game. They put up 70 points in the scrimmage. I know it was a scrimmage, so I was kind of expecting more offense from them this past Friday night. I know Model's defense is really good, but 18 points probably ain't going to get it done against Darlington with the size that Darlington has. I'm going to go Darlington 18-17.
Close game. Game is at Sonoraville, correct?
Yeah, it's Sonoraville.
I think Darlington is one of the top 2 or 3 Class A private schools in the state of Georgia. Colin Rogers, man, is a big back college coach you need to be taking a look at. Griffin Brewster is a big-time playmaker. I like Darlington 28, Sonoraville 20.
28-20.
Final game, Rome, North Clayton, right here at the lovely Barron Stadium. Back-to-back state champions, 2016, 2017. I think Rome is going to bounce back against North Clayton. I think they're going to put up 35 points, maybe in the first quarter. I'm going Rome big, man. Reed and that company out there, they mad. Yeah. Rome 61, North Clayton 14.
Yeah, I think Rome is going to jump out early, and you would think putting in your backups would stop the scoring, but Rome has so much talent all over that roster that them young kids are going to get in and just keep the scoring going. And I like 61-3. Sounds good to me.
Any games up that way in Bartow County besides is Woodland playing this week or Dansville?
Woodland's traveling to East Hall. I don't know much about East Hall, but
that's up near Gainesville. Hopefully Woodland to come away to win. Or Dansville.
Dansville's off.
Cass has Forsyth Central.
Yep, Forsyth.
Who you liking that one?
I like Cass in that one. With the defense that Cass played last weekend, they should be able to stop Forsyth Central, maybe 7-0.
Okay. Yeah, the Cass has a great defense.
Trine's going up to Dade County.
They're going up to Dade County. I like Trine. Trine is going to run it down their throat, man. Trine has some nice athletes out there. They have I can't remember his name when I had the game, number 44 at tight end. He had 2 touchdowns. Kodak or something.
Kodak Krabby?
Yes, he's a ball player.
They got that linebacker too, Will Wyatt, that's a beast.
Yeah, Trine has some.
But Dade's got that back that's got over 200 yards already. Webb.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he had 145 and 3 touchdowns Friday night.
Well, my game may be closer than what we think. Yeah. But we'll catch you at a game. Right now, the plan, according to we kind of do it like college game day. We try to see what the best game is. We need you fans to come out, do interviews, predict games. Right now, we're either going to be here next week for Rome and Kale, or we're going to be in Rockmart for the Rockmart Heard County game. For my dog, Lawrence, I wouldn't dare say Roll Tide. You can say it. I'm not going to say that.
Roll Tide.
See you next week.